Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. Today we're going to be continuing my series on Beyblade Burst with this new accessory. This is the Precision Strike Launcher, and to my knowledge this is the first actual accessory outside of an arena to be sold for the Slingshot line. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. Although this is Slingshot, as you can see there, I'm pretty sure it would work with other tops in the Beyblade Burst series. Alright, so first thing to notice is that the title of this item, the Precision Strike Launcher, is hidden way up there on the top. I'm not quite sure why it's actually one of the smallest font on the box. Not quite sure why they do that, but no matter, we know what it's called now, right? Alright, more importantly, we can see this is both a right spin, left spin, or clockwise, counterclockwise launcher. And I'm assuming there's probably some little switch on here to go ahead and select what direction you want your top to spin. Alright, now also it says you can target your launch. I'm assuming that just means you can aim better because there's a better grip on this. Okay, and probably most notable is what we do not see, and that would be a ripcord. So I'm assuming all the windings taken care of in this housing. Alright, but hopefully, well, we will find out how it works. Okay, alright, now let's just go ahead here. We have a picture talking about how you can aim and attack, so just better grip, I'm guessing what that's all about. Let's go look on this side, okay, and to the back. Alright, so here we get some more information. I'll move the camera. Alright, so you can see this is a wind-up launcher, so okay, now we know where that ripcord went. It just might be in there, but we don't have to actually rip it. Okay, and it's trigger activated. Well, that makes sense. So that's not just a grip, it's also a trigger. So wind up and trigger release. So this should be a lot easier to aim because after all you can do it one-handed, right? Alright, okay, and there's just some of the other information. So impression of the packaging, pretty good. I like the colors, bright but not too bright. Also, getting what looks to be an actual image of the item, and that image being about as big as it can be and still fit on the box, so that's great. Only thing I would have done better is actually write the name of the item on the box where it's not hidden with some of the smallest font. I'm not quite sure why they did that. You know, it's your item, you should be proud of it. You know, just go ahead and show off the name of it. Let it be known. And also that would help with people who are shopping for a gift for somebody. If they're told to go get the Precision Strike Launcher, they don't have to sit there studying absolutely every corner of the box to figure out what it is. Alright, so let's get to this unboxing here. It looks like it's secured on the top, which is some pieces of tape. Go ahead and cut those real quick. Okay, so got those cut. Alright. Instructions. Okay. There we are. Anything else? Nope. That's it. Alright. Oh, alright. So I was wondering how they were going to do the counterclockwise, clockwise spinning switch, and I think we just answered that. Okay, well that makes sense. Actually, kind of a clever way of doing it. And it looks like this is just a cover for the side you are not using. Alright, so first impressions. I'm actually liking what I'm feeling and seeing so far. We'll talk about the feeling part. So Beyblade launchers up until now have been pretty on the small side. The most recent launcher, the ones that came out right before this, or I should say the standard launcher for Beyblade Burst Slingshot are these. And this is even a big step up from what they used to be. So it's a little more bulky, you can get a little better grip on it here, but even the better one of the standard launchers still offers not nearly as much grip as this. So, if I hold this here, I can get my thumb up here, I can get my finger, of course, on the trigger. I have 2 fingers on the handle, and the only finger I can't really use is the pinky finger, which is beyond the end of the hilt. But even so, compared to especially the earlier Beyblade Burst stuff, this is a massive improvement on grip and, of course, with that aiming. Alright, also let's talk about the look. I'm liking the colors. I really do kind of like the look that it has here. It has this, almost looks like a modern military rifle. I mean, if you look at it closely, you can kind of see it, look, have like rails and all that, and the panels kind of all at an angle and overall squarish. So it does kind of have that cool look to it. So, alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read the directions. I know this shouldn't be a super complicated device, but I just want to make sure I get all the features and everything down, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I read over the directions real quick. So, as I was stated earlier, this is a cup to basically protect or encase the side that you're not using. And this front portion here is for this. So you go ahead and put this in that wider part towards the bottom or towards the top. And then once it's in there, you slide it to the middle. And then now you see, I guess you don't lose it. And then you go ahead and flex this over to whatever side you are not using. Alright, and once so, let's talk about this. You can see here there's a little R telling you that this is the right spin side, and of course there's the L for left spin. So let's say, since most tops are right spin, at least so far, I'm going to go ahead and close the left side for right now. So you put this in here, and then turn it to lock it. Well, you can hear, so that's... Alright, so one important thing I want to point out before we start launching tops has to do with this cover here. So initially I thought, it makes it look cooler, and also, maybe it keeps the other side clean, and possibly so you don't get, I don't know, if you have long hair, you don't get your hair tangled in there. I don't know. But I just thought it was mainly for decorative and maybe a little bit of the safety thing. But this cap's actually more important than I first thought, and that's because it acts as a safety. And what I mean by that is, if you don't have this thing locked in place on the other side, I'm going to take it off right now just to show you. In there, you can see there's some, you can kind of see through there. In there must be some little tabs that get pushed when you have this thing secured in place. And if you do not put this in there and activate those little tabs, levers, buttons, or whatever, the trigger won't depress. So yeah, it's much like an actual safety. So even if you don't care for the way this thing looks, you definitely want to keep this. Don't lose it. Otherwise, I don't think you're going to be able to use your launcher. Alright, so let's get to loading tops here. So I have here a right spin top. I have the right side exposed. Of course, the left side is covered and secured with our safety cap. Now, when you put this top on, you're actually going to turn it in the direction that the arrow points. So once you have the top on there, it becomes easier to turn. Of course, you can also turn it without needing the top. You can just use your fingers. I think this goes faster, so I do it this way. And we're listening, well, we heard a whole bunch of clicks, but we're listening for a louder click. And also, you should feel more tension in this when you do get to that final twist, which is your stop point. Okay, so you heard it. I actually think I went one past it. You heard it was two louder clicks at the end. Alright, now I have that covered, so now if I squeeze the trigger, we should see these tongs spin. I'm going to do it once without a top just to show you the speed and power. Alright, here we go. Yeah, so it spin quite fast, actually so fast you hardly even saw it spin. Alright, now let's go ahead and actually load up the top and launch it in there, and we'll see just how much spin we get. Alright, so I went ahead and switched out to get a different top, but it's also a right spin top. I've also winded it up, and here we go, launching. So yeah, it does launch the top. Alright, so here we go. So first of all, I have the top loaded up into the Precision Strike Launcher, and I've done the full wind up until the one first loud click, and I'm going to go ahead and drop it straight in the center of the bowl here,
and we're just going to see how long it spins for, and from that extrapolate how much, I guess, power the launcher is putting on the top. Alright, so here we go. Okay. Alright, so now we're here, same top, this time launched in the standard Beyblade Burst sling shock launcher, ripcord style. Okay.
Alright, so from that we can see that using the ripcord launcher, or the standard launcher here, does give you increased spin time. And from that we can gather that you're probably launching the top with more force as well. Alright, now I've also went ahead and run a few other tests off camera, and for those tests I went ahead and switched over to the other side, so this is the left spin side, and I tested it using this top here, since this is one of the few left spin tops I know of for the Beyblade Burst Sling Shock line. Alright, so I ran a couple, but I recorded the last results here on this little piece of paper, cardboard. So you can see here the top number was the amount of seconds with the Precision Strike launcher as far as spin time of the top, and the bottom, same thing, but with the ripcord launcher. And well, you can see the bottom number is bigger, and actually this number here should be even a little higher because since I had to use both hands to launch the top, then go ahead and free a hand to start the stopwatch, there's probably about a whole extra second, or maybe not, but at least some extra time that should be tacked on here for that transition. So, with that being said, we have at least 10 seconds of increased spin time using the standard ripcord launcher. So, that's a good segue into, is this thing even worth it? Since it seems that every time you can get more spin time and power using this, why would you even bother using this one? Well, there's actually a couple good reasons. And well, the first one, there's a huge hint, and it's in this thing's name, Precision Strike Launcher, and that is the precision part. Now, let's talk about when you launch a top using this. Now, you know, the faster you pull this out of here, the faster your top spins, right? And the better chance you have of winning your battle. So, knowing that, to get this thing out of here as fast as possible, without even thinking about it, you're actually going to do two things simultaneously. You are going to bring the green part this way to the left, and the black part to the right. And at the same time, it gives you a faster pull. And yes, your top will launch with more power and speed, but there's something you have to realize. Since the top drops down from wherever the green thing is at the end of the string pull, although you might have initially wanted to drop the top here, by the time you pull the green thing out and you were doing that pull away, look where the green thing ends up. It's all the way over the launcher, ends up all the way over here. So now you're dropping the top down over here, which is considerably far away from what you originally intended to. Now, I understand you can, train yourself to keep this part as, stable as possible and just pull the black part. But let's face it, even when you're trying to do that, you are going to be moving this a little bit. So with this, where you just basically hold it over, no fuss, no muss, you just push the button, boom, and launch the top, it's going to get you where you need, or the top where it needs to be, a lot more accurately than using this. Alright. So, that's one of the big pluses, and the other part is, well, this is kind of an obvious, but it's definitely worth mentioning, you can launch your top with one hand using this. You don't need both hands. Now you might say, well, why is that so important? Well, there's a couple reasons, and probably one of the big reasons for me is the fact that if you're on your own and you're doing different, combining different parts of different tops to get that ultimate combination for some given scenario, you're going to want to run a lot of trial battles. And if you're doing that, you want to launch 2 tops at the same time. Well, since you don't have 4 hands, at least I don't have 4 hands, so I can't run 2 of these. Now with this, I can easily launch 2 tops simultaneously. And another benefit of this, there was a launcher prior to this that was a simultaneous launcher. Essentially, it was 2 of these units. They were kind of put side by side. They had a long ripcord that went through both of them, and you pull that ripcord and then you launch 2 tops. It was a good idea, and it did work, but the one thing is you always had to launch the 2 tops, because those 2 launchers were fixed distance from one another, so your 2 tops were always launching this far apart. And yeah, you could turn it and angle it, but again, they're always falling relative to another from the same positions, basically. So with this, now you have 2 of them, and they're free of one another, so you can launch this top over here, maybe angle this one, and this one over here you can leave way over here and have that level. So you can do a lot of different combinations. So this is a good way of running it. And also, when you launch 2 tops simultaneously, obviously you're not giving any one top an advantage. If you look at my previous videos, I'm launching 1 top with this, and then I get another one and launch that. Well, that first top has been spinning, not for a long time, but it's still been spinning longer than the second top dropped in. So you could argue the second top has an advantage. Alright, so I guess I'm going to be using actually this one. I also have another one, and I'll be using these in future videos so I can launch the tops simultaneously and give both tops their fair run at the battle. Okay, so this part of the video is an update, and it was so important that I felt I had to re-upload the entire video that you're watching here. So what was so important? Well, as you can see, I have 2 Precision Strike launchers out there, and I bet you can guess what I was doing with them. I was doing an epic battle with 2 new slingshot tops that I have, and that video, by the way, will be coming up very soon. However, in filming that, I went ahead and used both of these, and although both tops launched at the same time, the battle was, let's just say, lackluster. Essentially, it was like both tops were at the very end of their battle, even though it was the start of the battle. So, yes, not enough speed, not enough power, and it just kind of got down to who fell over first. There was really no epic clashes, there were no flying around the arena, definitely no bursts. It was, well, to be honest, it was kind of boring. So, I went back to using the ripcord launchers, with that being said, I have to update the conclusion on these things to the fact that I would only recommend these if you get them at all, if you're just trying to do like what I was talking about earlier, where you need to launch the tops both at the same time. You don't have your buddy or your cousin, your brother, sister, whatever around, so you can't have 2 people and you have to launch both tops at the same time on your own. These will work for that, but keep in mind the battle isn't going to be nearly as dramatic as it could be. And in the end, that might not even give you the information you need about your top configuration that you're testing out, because it's almost like you're running 25% of the battle that would happen if you had used one of these. Now, on top of that, even if the duration isn't so much a concern to you, I also noticed that the tops weren't even behaving. What I mean by that is usually in the beginning they have the most power, and if you're using a slingshot arena, and we'll say you're using an attack type, the top is running into the channels, going into the speed cradles, hopping back into the main dish. When you use this, they just don't have the energy to do that, and if they do go into one of those 2 places, then the battle's going to even be shorter because they seem to run out of steam even faster. So, I don't know. I can't really recommend these if you're curious and you might want to get one, but I definitely wouldn't use these in any kind of battle that you really care to win.